Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Newcastle podcast with GSPN. My name's Joe and I'm with I didn't know what to call you there, girl. My girl. It's Nick.
With my girl.
It's my girl.
Just us two again, mate.
I know it's just us two, but we can't blame anyone this time. This is all on me. I wanted to get done early. Poor Kev, bless him, was stuck at work again. And he did offer to do it, but yeah, I insist on getting to do it early. So we won't slate him this time. But yeah, it's just the two of us. We're all right, man. We can talk football, right?
He has just messaged actually saying there's no dramas with me.
Oh, bless him. There's no dramas with me. That's good. That's good. I like no drama. Oh, bless him, man.
Bless him.
Cool. So yeah, today is all about reviewing the Wolves game. We're slightly late. We didn't do an immediate post-match one this time. I think everyone was a bit too hyper because unless anyone's fallen off the face of the planet, everyone will know we're 9 in a row now. So, you know.
Come on.
Well on our way to that famous 14 that we were talking about in the last pod. So let's see if we can do it. I think we're even more hype about making it now. Exactly. And can go beyond 14.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's just it's a great time to be a Geordie, right? Simple as
it's
that.
A good buzz. We're all happy, buzzing, and this is everything and more that we've ever asked for from a Newcastle team. So why wouldn't we be this excited?
This is very true.
We are the talk of every time I turn on Sky Sports. It's all they're talking about, and I love it.
They're obsessed with us. They always were obsessed with us, but now they're obsessed and they've got nothing bad to say.
It's brilliant. Yeah, love it.
I know. As I was leaving work today, my manager had asked if I was at the match last night, and I was like, I was at the match. He was like, cool. Yeah. I was like, get to go to all of them. And so we started being a bit daft like that. We were like, how many we're going to get, and how far can we go, and all this sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, this guy that's sitting next to him was just like, I've never heard two people talk so much rubbish. And I was like, and I just went, and who do you support like that, like full of attitude? And my manager's just like, he's a Mackham. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, get out of this conversation.
Absolutely not.
I know. So my manager starts ripping. He was like, look, come back to us when you're in the same league. Will you just pipe down, will you?
Yeah,
and all we then heard was, well, you're the richest club. And I was like, no, pack it in. We're not. We've got the richest owners. Get your facts straight, people.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's enough about them locks. We don't need to be talking about them. We need to be talking about Wolves. We need to be talking about how bloody amazing we were again against Wolves. We let Wolves have 5-10 minutes, you reckon?
We let them tie themselves out. We started slow, but we let them tie themselves out,
right?
And then we hit them. Give them a chance. We smashed it. And I wouldn't even say I'm not going to sit here and be negative about it because we obviously were absolutely great, but I wouldn't even say that was us at our best.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, to come away with a 3-0 win when we weren't exactly at our best at points in the game, it's mad impressive, man. Because old Newcastle teams, and I know we shouldn't dwell on the past and that, but you wouldn't see that now. Like what we see now, you wouldn't see back then.
Yeah.
And it's just a really nice breath of fresh air that the fact that we can have down days, but come away with a result. We absolutely smashed it from start to finish.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've made a great point there. So I was going to mention the unity in our team now is just it's on another level, isn't it? Really. I was going to talk about the chemistry of the front three, but then we could talk about so much. We could talk about the chemistry of the defence, the chemistry of the midfield. I think we've talked about quite a lot of times, and that was again evident to see. Strange enough, I think of the three in the middle, Big Joe had more of a poorer game, let's say, than he has recently. He didn't have a poor game though, so it's like trying to find that kind of wording with that one.
But from what we've seen recently, his standards have been quite poor. Yeah, that was quite poor.
Well, that's it. And if I'm honest, I don't think Gordon started the game as well as he finished the game. He almost grew into the game. He was just making, I don't know. And again, it's weird to kind of slate the guy because he killed it at the end of the day, didn't he? He does make mistakes. He is human. And, it just wasn't as strong at the start. That's all. But overall, there's nothing bad to say about the game, is it? Or just about our performance as a whole. I will go back slightly to what I've just said, though. Our front three at the minute, man. It's just Isaac's on fire, Gordon's on fire, and my boy Murphy, he's right up there with them. And I appreciate this is peak Murphy. I'll say it a million times. I'm not delusional. I do not think he's an Isaac. I do not think he's a Gordon. He's above them. That's what he is. He's on top. But
Jesus, it's been 4
it's
minutes and we've
special.
mentioned 5 minutes and
Special.
Murphy's been mentioned now. But
Come on,
that
then.
front three. Is it crazy to say that I think Isak might be the best player in the world currently?
Right now, he's the best striker in the world,
Currently,
but he
best
is
striker in
on
the world. Maybe not the
form.
best player,
He
but
is.
I mean that's just me being biased because I'm just a
Yeah.
mad Newcastle hooligan. But he is. I'm going to sound really cringy when I say this, and I know when the boys listen back, they're going to be like, "Oh, typical women." But he is a special, special, special player that I
He is.
honestly feel so lucky that we've managed to get him when we did, and the fact that he's been under Eddie Howe's management and his play and style of play is developed into what we're seeing now. I just love him, and it's honestly given me such great satisfaction hearing all these clubs say, he's definitely the best striker in the league at the minute, if not Europe, if not world. And he's obviously on people's radars, which as a Newcastle fan, you kind of want, but you also don't want at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just feel really, really lucky that we have got the best striker because he's so special. And also, did anyone see when he made that mad defence? When I can't remember what minute of the game was, but just mad defending at the back as well. I was like, okay, so
He
now
did.
Isak can play in defence. So
Yeah.
yeah, he was great. Yeah, absolutely great.
It was
And
a
the
brilliant block or whatever you want to call it, wasn't it? So
yeah,
wasn't it? It came from a free kick from theirs. Is that the
free
one you're
kick.
talking
I
about?
think so. Yeah, I think that was the
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
yeah, a
Well,
special, special human. That's what I'm going to say.
he is, and it's rippling through the squad, isn't it? It's rippling through the whole first team, especially. And we're getting some decent power off the bench as well. Everyone just seems to be gelling in some way or another, and again, it goes back to you've just said there with Eddie. It does. Eddie's got such a massive, and the coaching staff. I
Oh,
appreciate it's not
100%.
just solely Eddie on his own, but there's a reason Eddie has his team, and there's a reason that Eddie insists on taking his entire team with him wherever he goes. And he said he wouldn't have taken the Newcastle job without his team. And it's pretty obvious why. They obviously work very well together. They know exactly what they kind of want from each other and what they expect. And I think he then, God, he lives and breathes his job, doesn't he? And he
Oh
admits
yeah,
that. And he
he
kind
admits
of,
it. Yeah,
his personal life pretty much takes. It's weird to say like a kind of a side thing to his life, but it kind of does, and I think he's touched on that in interviews how his wife understands what he's like. She knows that upon him taking a new job, especially when he took Newcastle, she probably wasn't going to see him for a while. Or when she did, his brain was still completely switched on with the football
John.
all the time.
Yeah.
So we are so lucky to have him as well, and that's why I think it goes back to especially when Kev had his rant about the Eddie Howe haters.
Oh yeah.
He was bang on and even more proven right now at this point, isn't it? So
Oh
nobody's
yeah.
saying anything at this point.
No one's saying
They
anything about
better
at this
never.
point. And I always do stand by the fact where we have lulls, criticism has to be had. So that's not me sitting here saying that he deserved what he was getting over social media, because I absolutely think it was downright disrespectful and a little bit outrageous. I'm going to say the Eddie Howe out squad. I thought it was absolutely abysmal to come on social media and see that. But people have to expect, and that includes us on this podcast, that when the team aren't performing, comes criticism. But on the other side of that, when we're in this massive special part of our season, I'm going to call it, he deserves every single bit of credit, because something's happened from the end of November to beginning of December, where we've gone on this massive run where the mentality of Eddie, coach and staff, players has completely changed. We found a massive gel with the midfield three. Obviously, we know we struggled with that for a little bit, to have Bruno and Sandro on at the same time. And it's all of a sudden just clicked, and they look like a bunch of players and a squad that have been playing together for about 10 years. And it's just really nice to see, and it's really nice to see a group of players just enjoying playing together. I mean, you see on teams all the time, like some teams like Man United, for example, you know, sometimes you watch them string a couple of passes together and you think, do you guys train together 5 days a week or not? Whereas you're looking at us and we're smashing it. And that comes down to, like you say, Eddie's commitment. He's so committed to his job, he's committed to the game, he loves the game. And you can see that. Obviously, I'm not saying other managers don't, but I know you just feel special that
No,
ours is
absolutely.
committed.
Look, it's paying dividends for us at the minute. We're enjoying what is a massive ride at the minute. It is a roller coaster of being Newcastle. We've always said that in terms
Of
of
course
being a
it is.
Toon fan, isn't it? It's a massive roller coaster ride. We're on the high right now. Let us be, and that's kind of what I joked about with the guy at work.
Yep.
I was just like, look, leave off, man. I'm not, all jokes aside, I don't actually think that's it. We're going to be world beaters and we'll never ever be beaten again. Just let us enjoy the moment. Come
Let us
on.
ride it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. But, you know, we know we've got a special bunch of players and they know they're
100%.
special, but they are, in the words of Holland, staying humble right now. And they're just doing their
Mm,
job. They're letting
just
us
doing their
fans get
job.
all hyper and doing the whole, we're going to do 14 in a row, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to have the treble, we're going to, you know what I mean? We're going to lose our minds on stuff. We're going to put bets on that might never ever come in, but you know, it's great. But what's great is us fans are doing that, and then the players are the ones that, the important part, keeping their heads right, getting the
Oh, yeah,
wins,
100%.
ploughing on, doing
Taken
exactly
away.
what Eddie tells them to do, one game at a
100%.
time, unlike us, who are like predicting the entire rest of the season, because Eddie would never do that, because he'd be like, no way,
Absolutely not.
calm
It'd be like
yourselves
one
down.
game at a time, people. Let's get him on. Let's see what he
Literally.
thinks of.
Exactly that. And I'll be
Hilarious.
honest, the Wolves game as such was easier, quote, than any of us thought it was going to be. I did
Yeah.
think that it would be tougher because it's, you know, at the end of the day, they have got some decent players and they can play some decent football. And they're certainly
Yeah.
not, to me, if you look at the team, relegation fodder like some of the other
Oh,
teams
no,
are
no,
if you
no.
look at them.
No.
So it's a
Yeah.
bit weird to see them so far down there. And now still down there. But sometimes it looks like they've got no hope and they're not. It baffles me, Wolves, I'll be honest. It's a strange
Their
one.
heads are down because they're down. And it's a
That's
shame
it.
because I quite like Wolves as a team. And it is a shame to see them down there because they're not of that caliber to me. Like you say, like there's definitely,
Yeah.
worse performing teams in the league. And that's the thing with a relegation, sort of, especially at this point of the season where we're now going to the second half of it.
Yeah.
You never know when you go and face a relegation side. You're not sure what you're going to get because these teams are fighting. So
Sure.
yeah, so it was a shame, but we still won, and that's what I want to see. So tick.
That's all that matters, right?
Yep.
Cool. Right, I'll tell you what, I'll ask you for the first sponsor if you don't mind. We'll
No
do a bit
problem.
more. Yeah, we've got more to say, right? Cool.
Always. Especially us two. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Cool. We'll talk a bit more about the Wolves game as a whole, but I just kind of needed to throw out some stats on Isaac because as much as we've just been praising him, it is kind of unreal his kind of stats so far this season. He's
Yeah.
now 19 games, so we're talking Premier League, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
18 goal contributions, 14 goals, 4 assists. He's had 17 goals. I know. Goals, assists in his last 16 games for Newcastle. I mean, the guy is just, he's on fire. You know what I mean? He just literally, there's no
He's
stopping him. And it must
smashing
be
it.
scary playing against him, mustn't it? Like, imagine
Oh,
defenders having him
yeah.
either running at him, running at them, dancing around them, cutting him behind. The guy has it all. When he's on form, which he obviously is, he's got it all, hasn't he? And I know I'll hold my hands up, by the way, because I was the whole, and I say this still about a lot of players. Oh, he's not world class, but I said Holland wasn't world class, and I'll hold my opinion on that one, by the way.
I
But
agree
it
with
is
that
a funny
opinion.
one because world class is still something that there's not many world class players in the world. That's so bizarre to say that, but you know what I mean by that.
No, there's not. Yeah.
And I'm talking about the history of players, by the way, here. I'm not just
Mm-hmm.
talking about players right now.
Yeah.
But he's an absolute superstar if you want to break it down like that, isn't he? And he's just at the top of his game right now. It's as simple as that.
He's absolutely at the top of his game. He's probably hit a pivotal time of form as well in regards to our season campaign. Would have liked to see this sort of form at the beginning of the season, but I'm still taking it. We're smashing it.
Right.
Yeah, he's just not human, is he? He's not human. He's just a robot.
Doesn't look like it at the minute.
He's absolutely unstoppable. I'm not really too sure what else we can say about him other than he is world class. World class.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel a bit extreme saying that because obviously you're talking about the world here, and
He's
there's a lot of
performing at a world class level now, is what I'll
he is
say.
performing at a world
We'll do
class
it that
level.
way, yeah?
Let's do it that way. He's performing at a world class level, and a couple of ages ago now, Kev pointed the question to me and you: what makes a world class player? We're looking at it. We
This.
are looking at it because
This
he
with
is.
consistency is what I would say, yeah? And we
Yeah,
said it
it's
back then, didn't we?
consistent. It's
Yeah.
a team player. He bails people out in the worst of moments. He's unselfish, like we seen last night.
Yeah.
Completely unselfish with, squaring it off to Anthony Gordon. Scores goals,
Absolutely.
assists in the right place at the right time, all over the pitch. He's a consistent player, and he is on the path, if not already there, like you say, to be a world class player. And if, and this is going to be a bit of a shout, and I don't want to speak anything to existence or like jinx anything, but he has got to be one of the best players we've seen in a Newcastle shirt, surely.
Oh God, yeah.
Got to be. He is he is up there now.
It's been a long time since we've had a striker like him, because over
100%.
the years we've had some good strikers, don't get us wrong, but I think we've been lacking in a consistent number 9. Wilson had the potential to be that. It's just obviously due to all his injuries, he hasn't been able to be that for us.
Yeah.
Isak,
and if you're someone like Wilson
him.
now, you're looking at that, and I feel sorry for Wilson, because I'm sure his mentality is probably the worst. Not mentality. Well, yeah, his mental well-being probably is the worst it's probably been, because he's up and down with injury. He'll be the one feeling it. We're frustrated, but he's ultimately going to be the one that's feeling it the most.
Him.
And he's now looking at someone like Alexander Isak, who plays in his position. He's thinking, well, there's no way I'm getting in before him.
No.
So it's one of them, great player for us on his day, Callum Wilson, but he's just too injury prone. He's just too injury prone. It's a shame. Such a shame, because he's
a massive shame.
amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
No. But Isak really is. I mean, what we've said a million times, he's pretty much like the complete number 9, isn't he, really? He can score little tap-ins, he can score absolute blinders, he cuts in behind, like you've just said there, so he can be really unselfish, because he could have tried to go for his hat-trick there.
He didn't.
It's probably the right idea, because from that angle, I don't believe he probably got it, but you never know with his skill set, he might have got it. But he didn't. He took the opportunity to give it to Gordon, who was wide open. I say wide open, but you know what I mean, for Gordon he was. He pretty much slotted it in with style as well. So just all well-taken goals. But even his first one, I know it was a massive deflection, but the run he made from he'd already cut back, and then he took it out on the wing and cut back himself inside
100%.
to then take the shot anyway. And all right, yes, it took a massive deflection, but then I saw in interviews, but he reckoned it was going to be going in anyway, which I love that.
I love that confidence.
Absolutely. And then I saw this interview about from Eddie about Isak, just saying how hard a worker he is, because this is stuff that you don't know unless managers tell you about how he wants to stay behind after the end of training. He wants to just work on extra things, like he wants to work on his heading, so he has scored with his head, not very often, but that's something that he's working on, because all of the other things are more coming naturally to him. But then he was saying that he didn't really want him to keep staying behind at training, so he was like, I don't want him to burn out.
And
so he says, that's my job to manage it, isn't it? So yeah, 100%. So but it's nice to great to hear that commitment, isn't it? Yeah, to hear that he really kind of wants it, and he wants to improve himself. And while he's ours, that means he's improving himself for us. It's
100%,
isn't it?
Exactly.
So I think, because obviously we're going to have to split this pod into a bit of a review, obviously, of Wolves and a bit of a preview of Bournemouth, I think what I'll cut to now before we do the last part is your man of the match, maybe why they're the man of the match, and is there anyone else you'd like to shout out alongside that? So go for it. Who are you going to give your man of the match to?
Well, it's going to come as no surprise. Because I mention him every single podcast. I've actually got probably 2 players, but I want to shout out 3. So Sandro Tonali would be my player of the match, I'm afraid. Although Isak got, obviously we just spoke for 10 minutes on Alexander Isak. Tonali would have been mine. I cannot praise this man enough. I actually really love him. I think he was absolutely sensational. He ran from start to might not have done a lot on the ball, etc., but he was in the right place at the right time. He ran the show from start to finish, and then he was still going strong in the 98th minute. So he would have been mine. Unreal. And there's no surprise, obviously, get a special shout out. Sven Botman would have also been mine.
Go on,
again, you would never ever think that Sven Botman has just come back from an ACL injury.
Yeah, never. Been out for so long.
Been out for so long. What we're talking, 10,
crazy,
11 months? And he is slotted back in. Like he's never been away. Yes, okay, the first game he came back, we did mention how he was a little bit all over the place. That was to be expected. But he's come in, done his job solidly. He's an absolute brick wall at the back. And I just thought it was an absolute solid performance from him as well. And the other one, who's pretty much going to be my player of the season, I think, Dan Burn. There's not anything else I can say about him. And I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but I feel like he's just hitting the peak of his career, which is mad to say.
This is peak Burn, 100%.
This is peak Burn.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, they would have been my 3 special shout outs, because I think they didn't get spoken. They probably did, but I probably haven't seen it. But they didn't get spoken about enough yesterday for my liking. So yeah, them three.
Bang on. You're right about especially Burn. I think he gets overlooked a lot. Less so now. People are kind of clicking onto this, and the media, etc., are clicking on to how important he is for us.
Oh yeah.
But I had given Tonali as the man of the match for me as well.
Lovely.
The fact that he's just made that position his own, which now gives Bruno so much more freedom as well.
Yeah.
So it's allowed Bruno to improve this season. Because again, he did have, alongside a lot of other people, a bit of a slow start for how we know he can
100%.
play. As such, the whole captaincy thing was being questioned as to, oh well, should he really be? It's made him a worse player, all this. But I think it's actually because Tonali's now sitting in that position, Bruno does have a bit more freedom. It is giving him that kind of, not confidence, but I don't know, it's giving him more freedom to be a better captain, isn't it?
Yeah.
So more freedom
100%.
all around, so not just in his play, but actually to be a captain himself. But Tonali's technical ability, man, is just outstanding. When you watch it match in, match out, and that boy can last. That boy has stamina.
Oh,
so like you said there, he was still going in the 98th minute. He really was. Like yeah.
He's another player that I feel like is going to be on the, not quite yet, but is going to be on the sort of the world class tunnel. I think he's well on the way to being. Oh, honestly, I love watching him. I could watch him for hours. He, when we first signed him, I remember thinking, I've not really heard a lot about this boy. And then we've seen a few games, and I thought, okay, yeah, he's actually pretty impressive. Then he got banned, and I was like, who have we signed here? Is he going to be? I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What is happening? And then obviously got banned, which is obviously really unfortunate. So yeah, that's that. And then he's come back, and my God, you wouldn't even think he's been away.
No, not at all.
I just think, just another special player in a Newcastle shirt. And it's nice to see, like you say, Bruno has now obviously got the confidence to, go up the pitch. He's obviously got confidence in Tonali, and it's just a player that I feel like went under the radar a bit yesterday. Maybe not. Maybe I just haven't seen it, but I love him so much.
No. But again, I think it might become an expectancy thing, a bit like with Bruno. Because Bruno does deserve the praise he gets, but it has got the point with some people that, Bruno's mint, he should be mint. It's not really how it works, you know what I mean? So, and I think Tonali will start getting spoken about a bit like that, because it will become an expectation that he is a great player. He should just be great all the time. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things we could probably say about him, but it's understandable now as to how much the Italians raved about him and why he was immediately back in the Italian squad and playing the full 90 minutes. Before he was playing 90 minutes for us, much to our frustration.
I know, yeah.
But going back, we'll give how he's due. He knew what he was doing. He was edging him in. He was kind of making that work, like we talked about the whole Bruno Tonali thing, because it wasn't working at first, but it was working in the background. You see, that's what... where Eddie, that's why he's the boss, and that's why we're not, and this is why it's only ever our opinion, and in the end it doesn't matter.
We know nothing.
Because we know nothing. We
know nada.
But we like to talk about it anyway, right?
It's good. Absolutely.
Right, cool. I think we'll wrap up Wolves there, because like I say, we'll have got a little bit to touch on with Bournemouth, because there's no more pods before the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Back at home, where we expect obviously to hit our double figures of 10 out of 10. Oh yeah.
Come on.
Hyping it up already. So yeah, I'll when I find it, because I'm losing my way now, I'm going to read out the... Yeah, go on, because I'm all over the place now. I'm getting too hyper, sorry. Cheers, Jake.
Okay. The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, a dedicated Premier League wrap-up in 5 different languages. This is your one-stop shop for daily football fix. Find the Global Sports Podcast Network wherever you find your usual podcasts.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
See, I would still be looking for it right now if you hadn't
Here all week.
Here all week. You can get paid extra for that one. Right, okay. Cool. So, on to Bournemouth. I think what we'll do is just a little bit of a chat about it, how we feel about it going into it. Is there anyone we're scared of? And what's our predictions? Yeah?
Lovely jobby. Let's do it.
Happy days.
Happy days.
So on that, yeah. I
personally... talk about it.
I know, right? I personally feel pretty much how I did going into Wolves. I know we're all hyped up after the 3-0 Wolves win, but like we said before, we weren't as confident about it. We were confident of a win, but not as confident. And I do feel that way about Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth are doing a lot better than Wolves. They aren't exactly relegation fodder, like I say, with Wolves. However, I still think they're very similar teams in that sense. They can be dangerous when they want to be. They've had some decent runs. Their last game was 2-2 v Chelsea. So again, and that was away. So that was kind of a big result for them as well, wasn't it?
100%.
Looking at their team, I've got to be honest, I wouldn't say there's anyone. Maybe Semenyo would
That's
probably be my.
mention.
Yeah. I'm trying to really think of like someone that I'm overly scared of. But again, it was with Wolves. I wasn't overly scared of. I was just trying to think of players that I think could make a good impact for them.
I don't think there's anyone in the Bournemouth team that I'm massively. Watch me say that, and then they'll come out fighting. But there's no one really other than there's no one really other than Semenyo. Is that how you pronounce it? Oh God, my pronunciation's awful.
Semenyo,
yeah, Semenyo. And I'm really worried about because he seems to be on the score sheet quite a lot. And that's probably the only player that could potentially cause us some issues. However, it's not a team. I mean, you should be worried about every team, like Eddie says, you focus on the game that's in front of you and that's what you're thinking. Yeah. But it's not a team that I'm overly threatened by, maybe is probably the right word to say. Bournemouth are having probably a decent season, much better than Wolves, like you say, and probably a bit better than what they have done in the past couple of seasons. But we're Newcastle. Look at us, we're flying. We shouldn't be going out there worried about it. We should go out there and start hard like we normally do, and not maybe not start like the Wolves game did. But there's not anyone really that I'm massively threatened by, and that's not really an insult to Bournemouth. And before any Bournemouth fans start coming for us, it's not an insult to them or their team. It's just the fact that I just think we've got a better team than them, and I don't think there's anything we can't really handle. So yeah, that's my take on that one.
I think any honest Bournemouth fan would say they're worried about playing us, surely.
Oh, surely.
We've said it before. Come on. We've said it about other teams. If you're honest, you're going to play a team that's especially on form. We've said it before. So any honest fan's going to look at our team and think, oh, crap, like, look at who they've got kind of coming at us. Our front three, our midfield three, the strength of the back, our full-backs. There's so many positives coming out of Newcastle at the minute. It's just going to be worrying. It's as simple as that. They're going to take the game to us. They have to. And I honestly believe it will probably start a bit like Wolves. They will come at us. And I joked with Donna up in the stands. I was like, look, we'll weather the storm from Wolves for about 5-10 minutes and we hit them. And I think it might just be the same sort of thing. We'll hold it strong at the back, which I strongly believe we can. Us fans can get a bit hyper because, like I say, I think Eddie's got them right in the right mindset right now. They're very level-headed. They are just taking one game at a time. They're playing their game. And it goes back to exactly what we've just been saying. If we play our game like we have in the last 9 wins, we could beat them. We should beat them. We will beat them. Simple as that. Okay, it's on us.
I don't think Eddie's beaten Bournemouth whilst he's been at Newcastle, right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, but let's forget about records because we're setting holy records right now.
This is what I'm saying. This has been the season where we're breaking history books, man. So
yeah, we are.
It's Saturday's the day. He's going to do it, and we're at home.
Yeah.
What could you want? I'm sure we're at home, right?
We are. Yeah, it's 12:30 kickoff. Remember?
Sorry.
What you like?
Getting excited. So I think he'll do it. I think we'll do it. We've just got too much of a stronger team to not be able to do it, if that makes sense. But let's
go
out there.
Pressure's on us. I say pressure. It's not real pressure, but you know what I mean. It is all on us. We go out there, we play our game, we'll win. It is as simple as that. Absolutely. We don't go out there, we don't play our game. That's when Bournemouth can take it because they're not a team that can't win games. So it's not like we're going to be totally insulting here. You know what I mean? But that's where it's on us to just do our job.
Yep.
And we'll win. It's as simple 100%. As that. So
absolutely,
because we've blatantly just simplified the win over Bournemouth. It's just so straightforward these days, isn't it? Have you thought about what you think the score might be, or should we pretend to know what the boys might pick?
Let's go with the boys.
What Ian's going to pick, right? So what's Ian going to pick, Nick? What do you reckon Ian will go for?
I think he might go something different. I think he'll go with 3-1.
Oh, do you reckon?
Yeah.
Do you reckon he'll actually put a bet on as well?
I think he might be 3-1.
Which means it won't be 3-1.
He hasn't put a 3-1 bet on in weeks, and every time it happens, he's like, God's sake.
He put a 3-1 bet on against Wolves.
And then
goal got Strawberry afterwards.
Oh, damn.
My dad even said, he was like, I think he was the only person in that, because my dad was sitting with him. He was like, I think he's the only person in that stadium that wanted them to win, like out of the Newcastle fans, that wanted them to score.
That is
especially
brilliant.
When they had scored, and then it was obviously given handball. Yeah,
he's going for a 3-1, 100%.
Of course he is. What do you reckon, Kev?
It's going to be more reserved and go for a 2-0. I think.
You reckon?
Yeah. And I'm not sure what Michael will go for. What do you think?
Well, Michael went for 4-1 v Wolves, so Michael's being a real dark horse at the minute.
Oh.
Michael is confusing me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that. But fair play to him because he's on a total positive trip. The Toon are on a positive trip, so it's all bouncing together nicely. So, shall we say... I think Michael's going to go for a back-to-back 4-1 win again because he wanted the 4-1 last time. He didn't get it. I reckon he's going to push for it this time.
I think so. Yeah, I think he's going to go for that. Yeah, go for that one. Right. Now it's me and you.
So what we got? 2-0, 3-1 and 4-1. Go on, I'll let you go then.
I was going to go 3-0 again.
Right.
I think it's going to be a 3-0.
I like that. Well, I was going to pick 2-0, but you've already allocated it to Kev,
sorry.
so it's all right.
We can have the same.
I know. Just like to pick different ones. We've got a list of different scores.
Yeah, let's be different to Kev. Boring.
Boring.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go all out then because I've decided I don't want them to score because obviously I'm in full control of that as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go 4-0.
That's doable. We know it's doable.
Of course it's doable.
Absolutely, it's doable with our team. Let's do it. Yeah, right, lovely. 4-0.
Right.
Love that.
Love it. Look at that.
Love it.
And that's it, people. We've reviewed the Wolves game. General consensus is we're mint. And we're going to win the Bournemouth game. And the general consensus is it's going to be 10-0. So, happy days. Nick, it's been a pleasure. And the next time you will hear our dulcet tones will be to review our hopefully 10-0 game for Bournemouth.
Come on.
Happy days. See you later, chick.
Bye.
Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.